A while back, I promised to make a asparagus bottom soup. So you know how like when you use asparagus, you're supposed to break off the bottom. Well, one, I read that when you snap off the bottom of the asparagus, that sweet spot everyone talks about is like a myth. That in fact, it has more to do with where you bend it than some magical sweet spot. So in fact, you should just chop off the last inch or so and then use the rest of it. So I was like, oh, wow, that's super exciting. But either way, you're going to have stems when you're done. And so I'm going to make a soup using my asparagus bottoms. So you can see here's some asparagus bottoms and here's some more. These are all from 2 different times I did asparagus. So I'm going to use those to make a soup instead of throwing them away. Now, I always have cheese rinds as well that I throw into a baggie in my freezer. If you don't have these, you don't need them. But I'm going to try using those as well. In addition to my asparagus, I'm going to need something to thicken it up. So I'm going to use 1 potato. Again, if you don't have a potato, don't worry about it. You can do it with just the asparagus. And at the end, you might add a little cream if you're not worried about being vegan to help, just give it a little body. But otherwise, if you have a potato, I'm going to put one of those in. I'm going to put a little lemon at the very end as well and a little wine to deglaze. And for aromatics, I'm going to use both garlic and onion in this guy. But that's pretty much it. So asparagus, all you really need is asparagus and onion. If you only have those 2 things, you can make this soup. Got it? Asparagus and onion. If you have a couple other ingredients, you can zhuzh it up a little bit like I'm going to do. But bottom line, asparagus and onions, you got your soup ready to go. Okay, step 1. You're going to simmer your asparagus bottoms for 40 minutes in water. You could also use chicken stock if you didn't want to be vegetarian or vegan, or you could use vegetable stock if you want to add a little extra flavor. Because it's my first time ever making an asparagus bottom soup, I want to make sure to see what I'm really dealing with, and so I'm going to do with just water. In the future, I can experiment with the chicken stock or the vegetable stock. Cheese rinds, I've also never done that before. I didn't know how many to use, so I threw 4 different kinds in here, so that's 4 different kinds of cheese, right? So that's kind of fun. Like a purist might say I should have left that out for this first experiment as well, but gosh, I just have them sitting there and I just couldn't resist. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with water or whatever liquid you choose, and you want to go to about an inch or 2 above the top of the asparagus, so it's all completely submerged, plus you have about an inch extra liquid. All right, my stock has been simmering for 40 minutes, and now I'm going to take an immersion blender and puree this whole thing. Once it's pureed, I'm going to take a mesh strainer and strain out all the chunky parts. I don't know if I need to take the cheese parts out or not. We'll see as I go. I've thrown the onion in and it's starting to cook down. Normally, minced garlic will burn very, very quickly, so I never cook minced garlic for more than like 30 seconds. But if you just smash it and leave it otherwise mostly whole, it actually can stand up to heat a lot longer. It won't burn the way minced pieces do. So I'm going to throw this in with the onion as well. And then finally, I've never seen a recipe where you actually cook raw potato, but like none. But I'm just going to throw that in there too. I mean, I figure it'll just absorb that oniony, garlicky flavor. And again, it's all going to be processed at the end so that I have that texture from the potato. The garlic and onion are sweating nicely. It smells absolutely spectacular in here. I'm just going to give it another couple seconds, and then I'm going to throw that potato in there. Anytime you want to make any kind of soup, really, you can't go wrong with just simmering up some onion and garlic or whatever other aromatics you want. You can do carrot, you can do celery, you can do any kind of a pepper, a chili pepper like jalapeno, serrano. And then just throw a vegetable in with that, puree it, and you've got yourself a cream of whatever, spinach, broccoli. You could add cheese to it. Here I have just potato in there, and I literally could just do this and then add some stock and make a cream of potato soup. So really, this is just the base for any kind of soup you want to do. I will be adding into here that stock I made from the asparagus bottoms. Okay, I've got my fine mesh strainer, and you can see there's very pulpy stuff, but in it goes. And we're going to push all that through. I'm going to press down on it. I did not remove the cheese rinds, by the way. I figured they would just get trapped in here anyway. So I'll just push this through, and then I will see where I go. I can actually smell the Parmesan rinds in there and other cheese rinds. I can smell them coming up out of this. So maybe I used too much, and perhaps I should have left that out for this first experiment after all. Wow, I really had to press hard. Every time I press on this mush, a lot more juice comes out. So really work on it. But look at that. I am not eating that. That's going straight to the trash. I'm already proud of the fact that those were asparagus bottoms. And we can see I got quite a bit of broth out of this. You can also see the little bits of oil. So clearly I used way too much oil when I browned my or softened my onion and garlic. So next time, a lot less oil, and that'll look a lot prettier. So I've returned this now to heat, and I'm going to let this simmer for 20 minutes. That should soften up that potato nicely. And then I will process the potato in. So you can see it's a very fine broth here right now. So if you wanted a broth-like soup, you could just do it like this. But by putting in that potato and then pureeing it, I'm going to get a thicker consistency. And 20 minutes from now, it'll be soup time. How fun was this? Out of asparagus bottoms. All right, it's been 20 minutes. The potato, I just tried one. They're very, very soft. They have a little bite to them still, but just barely. So I'll know I'll be able to process them quite easily. And I tasted the broth itself, needed a little salt and pepper, and definitely needs the acid from that lemon. But I'm going to start. And let's see where we go. I am going to go ahead and put some of this in a bowl before I put the lemon in. I think the lemon at the very end might be perfect, just a little hint of it. And there we have it. Can you believe this was made from, really all you need is 2 ingredients, the butt ends of your asparagus and an onion. I zhuzhed it up with a little garlic, lemon juice at the end, and that potato that I put in there as well. So here's the thing. The lemon definitely brightens it up, but you don't want to overdo it because it'll overtake it for sure. So just a little bit of lemon to give that brightness to it. The potato. I don't think I would do the potato again. It completely overtook the asparagus flavor. So it's more like it really just milded out that asparagus. And so before I put the potato in and I tasted it, it had a little bit more asparagus-iness to it. So I think next time I'm going to leave that potato out and go for a little slightly thinner broth. Because it was just really super flavorful. And then what else? I think that's pretty much it. I made this out of asparagus butts and onion is really the only 2 things you need. I probably would still use the asparagus. I don't really chase the cheese rind. I thought that would overtake things too, but no. I totally just said I would probably still use the asparagus too. Yeah, it'd be pretty bland without the asparagus. What I meant to say was the garlic. So if you have onion and asparagus, that's all you need. Don't throw away those butts. You'll have a delicious little leftover soup. A final update on that asparagus soup. So what I figured out is that I really liked it. The potato, the texture of it, the flavor of it really grew on me the more I ate that soup. So now I'm logging it as 2 different soups. There's going to be an asparagus soup, which I'll try without the potato, which I think will be really good. But the potato asparagus soup was actually really great. So I'll be doing that again.